Hi guys. Today we're going to be doing pages 26 and 27, and then I want you to try 28 on your own. Hope all is well. Things are good over here. I'm slowly becoming a brunette again. I don't know how I feel about this, but hey, what are you going to do, right? All right, so page 26. There is a separate video for page 25. Page 25 is a review of something you learned in 8th grade as well as reviewed in the beginning of the year. If you need help with page 25, you can look at that video. Also, just contact me and join me on Zoom. Okay? All right, so this is just a quick review of everything we've learned so far. There are three different ways that you should be solving a quadratic equation algebraically. Our next unit is actually going to be how do we solve these graphically, but we're doing algebraically. My favorite is factoring, so I tend to factor anything that I can. The issue is that not everything can be factored, so you can't always use factoring. I'm going to do the difference of two squares, not the difference of two squares, excuse me, completing the square on the first one, just to review that. Okay, so r squared minus 12r plus I don't know equals negative 35. You move the 35 to the other side to make room for the c that you need to make that a perfect square trinomial. This would become a perfect square trinomial by adding 36. The reason it's 36 is you take half of the negative 12, which is negative 6, and you square that. Okay, so now that becomes r minus 6 squared equals 1. The left side is always a square. That's why it's called completing the square. The completing part comes from the fact that I added the 36. I completed it. I added that 36. Okay, so then you take the square root of both sides. That gives you r minus 6 equals plus or minus 1. Add 6 to both sides, and that gives you 6 plus 1, which makes 7. And that gives you 6 minus 1, which makes 5. Okay, and that does show you that you could have factored that, but I did want to show you using completing the square. Okay, I'm going to factor this one. Pretty simple. Y plus 3, y plus 8 equals 0. Set those factors equal to 0, so I get y equals neg 3. And set that factor equal to 0, I get y equals negative 8. Okay, factoring for most of us is the easiest, but if you don't like factoring, you can do everything by completing the square or by the quadratic formula. You can't do everything by factoring. All right, so this one I'm going to factor. I get x minus 6 and x plus 1. So x minus 6 equals 0, x equals 6, x plus 1 equals 0, x equals negative 1. Okay, so y squared minus 3y minus 28 equals 0. Remember that this all comes from the zero product property. That's why we set it equal to 0. 28. 2 and 14, 3 doesn't work. 4 and 7, yeah, y minus 7, y plus 4. Set those equal to 0, so y minus 7 equals 0, so y equals 7. Y plus 4 equals 0, so y equals negative 4. Okay, don't forget, check using substitution. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to do x squared minus x minus 30 equals 0. That is x minus 6 as one factor, x plus 5 is the other factor. Those are called quantities, or you could say it's a binomial. So you get x equals positive 6. X plus 5 equals 0, so you get x equals negative 5. All right, so I'm going to divide by 5. That gives me w squared equals 7. 7 is a nice number, but when you try to find the square root of 7, that is going to be irrational. So you get w equals plus or minus radical 7. Nothing against the radical 7. We don't, it's like, irrational. It's not bad. It's just irrational. If somebody called you irrational, that is not nice. That means that you're kind of crazy and that you're not able to be reasoned with. But to call a number that, it's non-judgmental. All right, so here we go. What you've been waiting for, context. Okay, context is when there's some kind of story. All right, so a plot of the land for sale has a width of X. It has a length that is 8 feet less than its width. I don't really like that because, but that's okay. It's what it says. All right. So a farmer will only purchase the land if it measures 240 square feet. Square feet means area. Okay. So I'm going to do length times width. And he wants it to equal 240. So that is going to be a quadratic. So I'm going to distribute. That gives me x squared minus 8x. And I'm going to move the 240 over. Okay. Factors of 240. Not an easy number. So you might want to use your calculator. Let me think. 20 and 12? 20 and 12. So minus 20 plus 12. Okay. Therefore, x minus 20 equals 0, x equals 20. That's a legitimate possibility because it's positive. This negative 12, that has to be rejected. The length of something can't be negative. So that means that this thing, and the picture's not great because 20 obviously should be the longer side, but that's okay. It's 20 by 12. 20 by 12, and that's in feet. So I'm going to try to put a little FT here. Feet. Okay. The length of a rectangle is 5 more than twice a number. So I'm just going to let x equal the number. Okay. The length of a rectangle is 5 inches more than twice the number. So twice the number would be 2x, and 5 more would be plus 5. The width is 4 less than the same number. 4 less would mean subtract. The area, length times width, is equal to 15. Okay. So this is the distributive property box method, anything you want. 2x squared plus 5x minus 8x minus 20 equals 15. 2x squared minus 3x, and I'm going to move this 15 over. So minus 35 equals 0. All right, so that's the splitting thing. So I'm going to do 2 times 35 is 70. So obviously I'm running out of room here. 2x squared minus 10x plus 7x minus 35 equals 0. I can pull a 2x out of the front. I can pull a 7 out of the back. So that gives me the factors of 2x plus 7 and x minus 5 equals 0. I'm running out of room, but if I solve the 2x plus 7, I'm going to get a negative number. If I solve the x minus 5, I'm going to get 5. So the number is 5. The number is 5. Let me check that. So 2 plug into 5, 10. 10 plus 5, 15. 5 minus 4 is 1. 15 times 1 is 15. That works. Okay. All right. So the square of a number, so I'm going to let x equal the number. The square of a number that's squared exceeds the number, so equals the number by 72. So here you have two choices. The x squared is bigger than the number by 72. So you can either take 72 away from the square or give the x 72. It's the same thing, because if you subtract on the left, it's equal to adding on the right, okay? If I set this guy equal to 0, I don't know why I always keep calling polynomials guys. All right. Ooh, x minus 9 and x plus 8 equals 0. So x equals 9 and x equals negative 8. Let me just see. It just says find the number. So both of those are good answers. If it said find the smallest number or find the odd number or something like that, then you might have to reject. All right, so that is pages 26 and 27. Please try 28 on your own and get back to me. All right, have a great day. Join me on Zoom.